Welcome to part 3 of the astonishing anniversaries of James and David. It's a very hot day here in Sao Paulo. Bear with me because I never rehearse for these readings, I just do it. So let's go. 1973. Joyce parks the pram outside the dilapidated scout hut and helps the boys out. She leads them over to the corrugated iron door, whose blue paint is peeling off in chunks. She gives the door a firm pull, and though it sticks, she manages to get it open and ushers the boys up to the step onto the chipboard floor. Swinging the ill-fitting door shut behind her, she examines the interior. Tongue and groove lines the prefabricated hut, its cream gloss paint chipped. Nut curtains hang against each of the thin wooden frames, and toys, infants, and the occasional play worker litter the wooden floor. "Can I help you?" one of them asks, shouting over to Joyce from where they sit amongst piles of dinky cars and toddlers. "I'm here to see Patricia," says Joyce, trying to stop the boys from attacking the toys. "She's in the kitchen." "Thanks," says Joyce, trying to steer the boys past the toys and towards the kitchen door at the side of the room. "Patricia?" she asks, poking her head in the door. "Joyce, come in, love. Would you like a cup of the kettle's on?" Patricia is a big woman who fills at least a quarter of the kitchen, which says more about her size than that of the kitchen. "That'd be lovely, thanks," says Joyce, trying to drag the boys into the kitchen after her. "I just brought James and David down to get them signed up." "Oh, let them play," says Patricia. "They'll be fine." Joyce lets go. The boys hurtle back into the hall towards the toys like iron to a scrapyard magnet. "So, how are you?" Patricia says. "Long time no see. Aren't they growing up? And where's Lisa?" "She's with the neighbour," says Joyce. "I think she's having a love affair with their son." "Aren't they funny?" Patricia laughs. "How old is she now?" "4. The thing is, I need to get back to work, so I was wondering when you could take the boys on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Lisa starts school next month." "Tuesdays and Thursdays, Patricia consults mental register. "That shouldn't be a problem. How old are they?" "They're 2 today," says Joyce, unable to stop her pride from showing. "Today? Doing anything special?" "I'm just going to pop down to Skelton's to get some cakes for tea. We had a bit of a party at the weekend." "Nice," says Patricia. "Well, we should have space on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so they can start the first week of September if you like." "Oh, that's great," says Joyce, relieved. "Thanks very much, Patricia." "No, thank you." Patricia stresses the words to make it clear that it is she who is thankful. "So, how's Ron?" "Oh, you know, he's Ron." "Sugar?" "No, thanks." Patricia hands Joyce a tea in a thick mug, pale blue on the outside and white on the inside. "And how about the boys?" "Oh, they're fine. David's a little angel. James can be a little bugger sometimes." "Is it true what they say about twins?" "What do they say?" "You know, that they can communicate with each other without talking like." "I don't know. When they were younger, they had their own language that they used to talk to each other. Ron and I couldn't understand a word of it, but they seemed to understand each other." "So no signs of telepathy then?" Patricia joked. No." Joyce smiled to acknowledge the humour, but in reality, she felt knackered. Looking after 3 kids who had taken it out of her, and she was looking forward to going back to her part-time job as a receptionist at Hull General Hospital. It wasn't that she didn't love her children. She just needed a short break now and then, that was all. I shouldn't tell you this because you might change your mind about taking them, but they can be real monsters sometimes, she confided to Patricia. The other day they managed to empty a whole load of Ronald's hair cream over each other, and then, while I was washing it out of their hair, they managed to empty the entire tub of toothpaste into the bath. Patricia suppressed a giggle. Then they somehow managed to find a pair of nail scissors and use them to cut Lisa's hair. Small giggle escaped. And then they tried to clean the floor with my favourite moisturiser. Patricia cannot hold it back any longer. Floods of laughter burst out of her mouth. Sorry, she says. You shouldn't laugh. Joyce's face suggested that no, you shouldn't. But Patricia still giggled. It's a little bit funny. Patricia giggles are contagious and Joyce can't help but smile. The week before, they painted the walls with nappy cream. Patricia almost choked on her tea. It was my fault, Joyce explains. I told them they couldn't paint, that they'd have to pretend. So they did pretend, with the nappy cream all over the walls. Ronald was on the 73 and 83 circular route today, driving round in circles from the town centre as number 73 through the estates of slum terrace housing that Hitler had failed to raze to the ground. Round the back of the boulevard, the Hull FC rugby league ground, across the level crossing, round the back of Boothry Park, through the new council estate, built over the ruins of the old slum terraces that Hitler had succeeded in razing to the ground, past the park where the houses turned into the 1930s semi-detached variety, and he wound the 73 round to 83, before turning right into Hull Road and heading back past the other end of Boothry Park, over another level crossing next to the cricket oval, round the other side of Boothry Park in front of the hospital, past the tower blocks, and then left past the train station and into the bus garage, where his journey would begin again. Some days, for a change, he would begin the anti-clockwise route, which left town via the hospital and returned via the rows of terraces with their concrete yards and stone-throwing offspring. But either way, he spent his working day going round in circles. Today, the mental soundtrack of his journey was the Ying Tong song by the Goons, which had somehow made it into the charts. Ronald had heard it onto the radio this morning and now he couldn't get it out of his head. He'd liked the song at first, but after hearing the same section of it in his head over and over again, he was beginning to wish it could be replaced by something else. Another bloody bicycle, Ronald comments to himself as he drives behind the offending vehicle so that he can pull into the next stop, where a young girl has stuck out her arm. How much is it? The young girl says once she's climbed up on the bus. She has long black hair, an olive complexion, and dark eyes, which remind Ronald of the El Martini song, Spanish Eyes, which is making a bit of a comeback at the moment. If membership of the European community means more passengers like this, then Ronald is all for it, even if Ted Heath is a bit of a posh idiot. Where are you going? Ronald asked the Spanish-eyed woman. All the way there and back, comes the suggestive reply. Ronald shifts in his seat. Return to town? He tries to confirm after swallowing hard. I suppose so. Ronald takes her money, gives her some change, and then watches her in the rear-view mirror as she walks to the back of the bus and takes a seat. He shakes his head back to reality and pulls out of the bus stop back into Hull Road, where, in the distance, he can see that the level crossing gates have just come down and that hundreds of bicycles are already starting to queue up. The implications to his timetable send a shudder down his spine. Evans, the evil Welsh controller, is bound to give him another dressing down if he's more than a minute late to the garage. Come on, Ronald muttered to himself as he watched the train pass, and soon after the level crossing barriers lift to let the hundreds of cyclists and then Ronald's bus pass. He cranked the old bus up through the gears, as he struggled to pick up speed in time to see the lights at the corner of the hospital turn red, and beyond that, a crowd of passengers waiting at the next bus stop. He slammed on the brakes to stop at the lights and elicited a series of tuts from the old ladies behind the luggage rack. Sorry, love. He managed to apologize as he struggled to get the bus into first gear again. All three children are in bed, and Dirk Bogarde is winning the war on telly. But at least it's better than Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers on BBC Two, although Ronald doesn't share this information with Joyce in case she doesn't agree. For the moment, he is safe as Joyce is in the kitchenette doing the washing after listening to Radio 2. The melodic sounds of an orchestra are wafting through the hall. The radio is switched off, and Ronald hears Joyce's footsteps padding closer. Cup of tea, she says as she rounds the door, holding a couple of mugs, one of which she holds out to Ronald. Cheers, he says, taking the mug. I'm a bit worried about David, Joyce says as she slumps on the settee, placing her mug on the coffee table, which wobbles a little, but holds its own. Why? I think he's coming down with another cold. Not again, Ronald sighs. Well, if he's not better tomorrow, I'll call Dr. Winterton. He seemed all right. Yes, but he doesn't complain, does he? Not like his brother. Bloody hell, do you think it was him that was ill? Ronald, sorry, but it's true, the way that lad goes on. It's Joyce's turn to sigh. What's this? She says, nodding at the telly. Some war film with Dirk Bogarde. I think it's almost over. Mind if we see what's on the other side? Go ahead. Me? Joyce complains. I've just sat down. Christ. Ronald. Sorry, he says. He pulls himself out of the armchair and goes over to the television, where he twists the dial so that static replaces Dirk Bogarde, and then Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers replace the static. Oh, good. Fred and Ginger. I like them. If you'd like to hear part 4, the 1974 chapter of The Astonishing Anniversaries of James and David, then subscribe to my channel. I'm fairly sure the subscribe button's down there. And if you like this reading, then the like button, I'm fairly sure is over there. But anyway, I'm sure you can find it. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. Cheerio.